Hey friends, and welcome to my kitchen. So today we are going to cook my chili recipe for Blue Collar Homestead's 2021 chili cook-off. Now I love chili. Kenneth loves chili, and Declan loves beans. Anything that has beans in it makes that kid happy. And for my chili I use 3 beans. So I'm doing pintos, black beans, and kidney beans. Now kidney beans are usually the traditional chili beans around here, but I like to do all the different kinds. I like the different sizes and sometimes the different textures and tastes that they can lend to the chili. Normally when you use dried beans you always want to soak them overnight to begin with, but I forgot. I know, I'm totally slacking. We have worked so hard on clearing land that I just haven't thought of anything else. And so I forgot to soak my chili beans. But that's okay. If you forget to soak your chili beans, what you can do, take all of your beans, put them in a pot with water, bring them to a boil, and then cut it off and let it set for about an hour. That will kind of do the same thing that soaking will do. So when you soak a bean, it helps draw the water inside and rehydrate that bean. That cuts down on your cooking time. It also helps the bean to be better digestible so that you don't have as much gas issues after eating these beans. I use about a cup of each type of bean. So that's my cup of pintos. I only have like this much left in the bag, so I'm going to go ahead and throw those in as well. The wonderful thing about soups, stews, chilies, things like that is they're not an exact science. Basically anything goes. Again, I only have just this much left, so in the pot they go. Now, once you get all of your dried beans into your pot, you want to go through and pick out any that are discolored. So, not that one. I missed it. So, like this one is a black bean, but this is a normal black bean. So, the discolored one I take out. Any half beans I take out. So, you just give it a quick pick through. I've got my beans in the pot. Now I'm going to give them a quick rinse off just to make sure there's no dirt or anything in here. I rinse that all off, and then I'm going to fill my pot to about probably about halfway full. Okay, so now I've got water in my pot. I'm going to cut it on, let it come to a boil, and then cut it off and just let it sit. Okay, so what do I put in my chili? It has the 3 beans, black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans. Then I put crushed tomatoes. I didn't have enough tomatoes for my garden this year to put up, so store-bought is what I'm using. This one is 28 ounces. Beef broth. If you have homemade, works even better. This is my favorite broth base to use. I love their chicken. This is their beef. 1 whole onion. Bell pepper. I would normally use about 2 red bell peppers. But my pepper plants were still producing right before we moved down here. The move down here destroyed them, so they're not producing anymore. But I have peppers in my fridge to use up, so I'm going to take the place of 1 red bell pepper and add in my own homegrown peppers. Ground beef is my meat of choice. Paprika. I prefer to use whole cloves, but I'm currently out. Garlic powder. Chili powder. Cumin. So that's it. Pretty simple. I will leave a complete ingredient list with measurements down below. That way you can remake this chili if you want to. Okay, so we're getting some boiling action going on, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. Put the lid on it and just leave it alone. See y'all in an hour. Okay, so my beans have been soaking. I opened it about halfway through their hour and they were almost soaked up all of their liquid. So I filled it up with some more liquid. I'm going to set it to this while I get the rest of the stuff started. Okay, friends, so if you were actually responsible and remembered to soak your beans the night before, this is where you would start. So if you soaked your beans or if you're using canned beans, skip that first part. You won't need it. Cut it on. Let it start heating. Ground beef goes in. Let that start cooking while we chop up our onions and peppers. All my peppers and onions are chopped up. Go right in the pot. Okay, so the great thing about chili is it's a one-pot meal. Everything's just going to go in here. I'm just checking to make sure that my meat is cooked through and broken down. Okay, so all of my meat is cooked through. Next step is just to add the rest of your ingredients. So I'm going to drain my beans from the water they've been soaking in and put them in here. I'm going to replace that water with beef stock because beef stock has more flavor in it than water does. Next, you add your beef stock. So if you're using homemade, just add it as is. If you're using the powder kind like I am, just add however much your beef stock on its bottle or whatever says to make up 8 cups. That's what you want, 8 cups of liquid. 4, 8. Now I'm going to add in my beef stock powder to make my water turn into beef stock. If you're using canned beans, you can rinse those beans off and add the liquid after, or you can just keep the liquid from that beans and cut this liquid down at least in half. The reason that there's so much liquid in this pot is because this is going to cook for another hour to 2 hours. It's not going to hurt. The longer chili cooks, the better it tastes. Now let's add our seasonings. I'm going to do an entire tablespoon of garlic powder. If you're using fresh garlic, I usually do about half a garlic bulb. 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Whoops! Or a little extra. 1 tablespoon of paprika. 1 teaspoon of cumin. 2 teaspoons of salt. You may need more or less depending on how salty your broth is. And 2 teaspoons of black pepper. Next, we'll bring our chili to a boil. Then once it is boiling, we'll cut it down to a medium-low heat and let it cook for at least an hour, stirring just occasionally as you walk past the pot so that nothing sticks to the bottom. I was sitting here looking at the chili trying to figure out why it looked an odd color. Chili should have more of a red tint to it. I didn't add the tomatoes. Seriously? I got distracted by y'all. Let's add the tomatoes now. That looks more like it. From here on out, chili is just a waiting game. Y'all got splashed on. Sorry. That's it. That's about it. It literally just needs to cook now. Okay, we are boiling away over here. Cut it down to about medium-low heat and let it keep going. Well, it is cooked down quite a bit. Water's evaporated out. It's looking nice and thick. Chili is done. Okay friends, that's it. Chili is done, grilled cheese is done, and now it's time for us to eat. What do you think? Looks delicious, huh? So I want to see your chili cook-off entry. Make sure you use the hashtag #BlueCollarHomesteadChili2021. Let me know if you do a video so I can go check it out. So for this challenge, I am going to call out Life with Glenda and Chuck and A Good Life Farm. I bet she has a good chili recipe. Okay friends, see y'all later.